WeatherTech SportsCar Championship on IMSA Radio.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome along to our coverage of Lime Rock Park and the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship FCP Euro Northeast Grand Prix with Liqui Moly. John Hindhaugh and Jeremy Shaw in the IMSA Global Broadcast Centre as we are ready to go qualifying. Just one 15-minute session, and let's, before we get into the action, go down to Shea Adam in the pit lane, who can give us the qualifying drivers. Should mention, we have got all the GT cars that are here. 20 of them are going out at the same time. Shea, what do you know?
Yes, well, I know almost all the cars because there's one car that there wasn't any drivers by, and that is still a question mark, so I'm walking down to find out who's in it. But let's start with GTD Pro. We got the indication of who was going to be qualifying those cars by who did the mock quali runs at the end of the practice session. So I can tell you that it was Antonio Garcia who was fastest at the end of that session. He is doing the qualifying duties for the number 3 Corvette. We have Patrick Pile hopping aboard the FAF Porsche. See, I only got 4 P's in there, John. We've got Jack Hawksworth aboard the number 14 Vassar Sullivan Lexus, the championship leader. Ross Gunn is doing qualifying for the 23 Heart of Racing Aston Martin because it's his turn. He and Alex Ribera swap back and forth every time. And Jules Gagnon told us earlier on that he was going to be doing qualifying, and indeed he is. Now, let's go back to front numerically as far as GTD is concerned, why don't we? Bill Oberlin is qualifying the number 97 Turner Motorsport BMW. That'll be fun to watch. Patrick Gallagher is in the sister car, the number 96. We've got Jarrett Andretti in the Aston Martin for Andretti Autosport. And then we come to Kelly Moss with Riley. Alec Udell is attempting to get his second pole of the year for the number 92, whereas the sister car, the number 91, has Alan Metney behind the wheel. Rexy AO Racing is PJ Hyatt once again for that Porsche. Misha Goikberg is behind the wheel for USRT powered by Forte Racing powered by USRT. Got that backwards. But Misha, the Canadian, looking for a pole position here in his Lamborghini. Alan Brynjolfsson is doing the qualifying duties for Wright Motorsport in the Volt Racing Porsche. For McLaren, this one is interesting. Frederick Schandorf is the qualifier for Inception Racing. That will be a very fast car, no doubt. Sheena Monk is behind the wheel of the Acura. That's the Gradient Racing car. It is Russell Ward once again for Windward Racing in the number 57 Mercedes. The other Mercedes, the number 32, they qualified Mick Grenier at CTMP, but it is Mike Skeen's turn once again. Mick is sitting on the pit stand in street clothes. Then the number 27, which was the last car on my list to try and figure out which driver it was. Roman DeAngelis put the car on pole the last time out at his home race. His only other pole position came at this very circuit. He is doing qualifying duties for that car. The number 12 Lexus is one that he'll have to do battle with, though. That's Frankie Montecalvo, pole sitter here last year. He's behind the wheel of that Lexus for Vassar Sullivan. And last but not least, it is Madison Snow going out for Paul Miller Racing in their BMW.
If you're here at the track, don't forget to tell your friends they can tune in to what you're watching right now, whether they're in the States or further afield. No subscription required. All you have to do is go to imsaradio.com, click the hamburger on the top left, and then go to live video. Lime Rock Park, Connecticut, beautiful part of the world, just outside Lakeville. It is the shortest circuit that we visit for IMSA any of the years. Even the road circuits are a wee bit longer than this. Effectively 7 corners, 1.5 miles around. Turn 1 in the big 180-degree hairpin. It's kind of not, though. You've got to look at that as almost 2 different turns, the in part of it and the out part of it. Then you run through the left-hander, the only major left-hander on the circuit at turn 3, the right-hander at turn 4, the no-name straight, which isn't a straight, then the uphill. Now, for IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship, we take the chicane, which actually shortens the track length by a couple of 100 yards, but not much more than that, and you join the back straight just as you go over the top of the rise before you set yourself up for the right-hander at turn 6. Then you drop down as if you're falling off the end of the world, down towards the final diving turn 7, the downhill, and that's onto the front straight. Jeremy Shaw is with Shea Adam and me, John Hindorf. Now, Jeremy, we saw drivers taking it very, very easily in warming up their tyres, in particularly Antonio Garcia, who was the quickest in the last free practice session. It was an out lap and 2 prep laps for him on his Michelin tyres. I'm not sure he'll have the ability to do that with 20 cars out on track. He's at the sharp end of the field, but surely he'll not want to give up that track position.
I think it was more than 2 prep laps. I think it was 3 or 4, wasn't it, actually, that he turned this morning before he really got down to business in that culvert. But then down to business he did, because he turned 3 laps in the 51.0, another couple at 51.2, so 5 really, really fast laps, and nobody else broke 51.1. But this is going to be a really, really interesting qualifying session. I'm very much looking forward to it. Certainly interesting that Inception Racing should choose to put Frederick Schandorf at the wheel number 70 car. He did that qualifying sim this morning, and he was a full, well, more than a tenth quicker than anybody else, which is a stunning margin in GTD, it seems to me. So it was a great lap by him this morning. I would expect him to be hard to beat for the pole position in GTD this afternoon.
Well, here's the answer to one of the questions. Antonio Garcia does want track position, and fairly forcibly, albeit not at anywhere near full speed, has just gone past the number 79, and that is Jules Gounon. So Jules is no slouch in that car, but he's given up the head of the line of cars to the Corvette, the number 3 car. Last time we'll see this version of the Corvette here. There's a full, properly designed and developed GT3 car coming next year. This is still not flat out for Antonio Garcia, but what he's done is claimed his place at the front of the line here. And where's Gounon gone? Gounon has pitted. Really interesting. So Gounon's pitted out of second in the line. So that means that coming through behind Garcia, I think certainly the number 91 Porsche I saw there going past the start-finish line, that was Alan Metney. And I think it might be the number 1. It is the number 1. And that, of course, is Madison Snow. That's one of the GTD cars with the green wing end plates, door mirrors, and windshield edges. Red in those places for the full pro cars. Madison, it almost comes together with the number 92. That's another one of the Porsches, and that is Alec Yadel. So Madison did not want to give up his spot on the road there as they came through West Bend and forcibly closed the door on Yadel, and now things start to get going. We're looking for a time down in the low 51s here, Jeremy, at the front of the field.
We are, and real cat and mouse stuff there at the front, and nobody wanting to, some of them wanting to get on with it and others not. And, you've got to respect your competitors here. If they're on a different program, then you've got to get, they're on a faster lap, you've got to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Having said that, of course, no one yet fully up to speed. No. We're still 53.3 is the best right now, so still a couple of seconds away from where they will be.
I've been watching a lot of probably the world's greatest endurance race, the Tour de France, in the last couple of weeks, and that was much more reminiscent of a track cycling or getting set up for a sprint at the end of a long stage there, as people were just jostling for position. Where do they want to be? Do they need to be the lead out? Do they need to be behind someone and get a little bit of a draft? Still not getting hugely quick times in. Frankie Montecalvo, though, is the quickest with a 52.2. It's getting a little more serious. That's in the number 12, the GTD version of that car. In fact, sorry, that's not true. They are exactly the same versions of the car, so there's no reason why a GTD can't be on pole position. Bill Oberlin goes to the point, 51.9. That's actually not a bad time at all. Montecalvo goes through 51.9 as well. Russell Ward 52.1, 51.7 by Antonio Garcia. but we're expecting something at least half a second or so quicker than that. The track temperature is down at 88 Fahrenheit, 31 Celsius. That was 120 earlier on today, nearly 50 Celsius. So the track temp is lovely right at the moment, 27. That's 81 Fahrenheit in the air, Jeremy. That's baffling.
And that was 5 laps Antonio Garcia turned before he got on the gas to really put together a proper lap. Mike Skeen is fastest now, 51.246 for Mike Skeen. That is far and away his best lap. 51.7 he turned in the second practice session earlier today, and a 51.2. That is not hanging around. That is significantly quicker by 0.3 of a second than the quickest non-pro lap set in the second practice session by Frederick Schandorf in the McLaren.
Yeah, absolutely correct, Jeremy Shaw. 51.246. That's the target right now. Oh, no, it's not. It's 51.157. Mike Skeen's gone quicker again. We saw this in free practice earlier on. The GTD cars didn't really have a crack at a qualifying sim. The GTD pros did in their last 15 minutes when there was only 5 of them on the track. Monte Calvo in second with a 51.4. Roman De Angelis 51.4 for Heart of Racing Aston Martin. Hello to Sarah up in Crewe, who I know will be watching and listening. Then it's a Lamborghini, the Lamborghini, Misha Goikberg. Forte, 51.5. Corvette, Mercedes, Lexus, Aston Martin, Lamborghini, Porsche, BMW. Top 7 different manufacturers. This is what we're used to seeing here. 51.0, there it is. Corvette Racing, Antonio Garcia on his 7th lap. 51 and a 51.1 by Mike Skeen. Wow, this is tight at the front of the field. It still could be a GTD sitting on overall pole here. Yeah, I mean,
Garcia is the only one of the pro guys to turn up a representative lap. All the other 4 are 17th, 18th, 19th and 20th on the timing charts at the moment. This is absolutely fascinating.
There's the
Great
first 50.
By Mike Skeen. There we go. There's a 50.992, yes, for Antonio Garcia.
Wow.
So that is a new lap record. 51.079 was the old record set last year by Matt Campbell in a Porsche.
50.992. That really should be a Porsche, shouldn't it? For that sort of time is a new qualifying record for Antonio Garcia for GTD here at Lime Rock Park. 51.157 for Mike Skeen is good enough for GTD. Paul, he at the moment would start on the outside of the front row. We do not split the classes here. Spin for the 96. Straight on, in fact, at turn 1. That's the BMW of Patrick Gallagher. That will be a yellow flag down in turn 1. Jules Gounon up to second. He had got to third. He's now in a 50.932. That would have been close to Corvette, but Antonio Garcia went down to a 50.8. And now Ross Gunn for Heart of Racing Aston Martin, a 50.593.
Yeah, was the yellow flag out? Probably not quite, I think.
Not for that lap, I don't think, Jeremy.
No, not quite. That's a great lap there for Ross Gunn. That came out of nowhere. 50.593 for the Aston. The fastest lap in this earlier session, a 51.4. Jack Hawksworth now up into second position in the Lexus, a 50.7.
Wow. This is all of the GTD Pro cars who are just getting their tyres in. That was only the 4th lap from Hawksworth, the 6th from Ross Gunn. Antonio Garcia, who went out right at the beginning, remember, has got 10 laps on his Michelin tyres, 7 on Jules Gounon's Michelins for the WeatherTech Mercedes. Where's Patrick Pilet for Faf? He's only on his 4th lap as well, a 51.2, his best. Don't count that Porsche out yet either, Jeremy.
True that, yeah, absolutely right. The fastest sector time of all, by the way, in the first sector was Mike Skeen, who remains quickest of the non-pro cars in that Team Courthoff Motorsports Mercedes car number 32. He is into the pits He reckons he's not going to improve on that 51.157. Patrick Pilet does, but of course he is a pro. So it's now 5 pro cars ahead of the best of the GTDs. But even Mike Skeen's lap 51.157, that is comfortably a new lap record for non-pro. The old record was 51.4, set by Trent Hindman actually back in 2019.
Ross Gunn to the line, 50.5 he has. That was a recovery lap of 55.9. Next across the line will be the Lexus of Jack Hawksworth. He's got a good run and he's got a decent little tour down the front straight as well from Alan Brynjolfsson. Does he improve a 50.9? No, he does not. But that's another 50 for Hawksworth, 50.983. His best of 57.84. My goodness, this is good stuff at the front of the field, isn't it?
This is fun, stunning stuff. Mike Skeen has got the purple sector time in Sector 1 then. Purple in Sector 2 is Roman DeAngelis, who's 9th fastest overall, 4th in GTD non-pro. He is the quickest through the middle sector, which is that's a great lap, or great effort by him, but not quite enough. He's 4th fastest he is at the moment, Roman DeAngelis. He's about just over a 1/10 of a second behind Mike Skeen on total lap time.
Ross Gunn pits the heart of racing, number 23 Aston, that is provisionally on pole. Hawksworth still out there in second, needs to find almost 2/10. Antonio Garcia is in the pits for Corvette. Jules Gounon still circulating. Here's the Pfaff Porsche to the line. Patrick Pilet using all the road at turn 7. He's got a 51.0, 52.6, but he's winding up to another one. And he's got room ahead of him. It's Hawksworth ahead of him, but there's room there for him to do it. He's pushing right to the limits at the exit of turn 2, the second part of the big bend. 66 comes to the line next. Sheena Monk. That car has not had pace this weekend so far. The Gradient Acura not in Sheena's hands, not in the hands of Cat Leg either. And there's no improvement for Sheena.
And it is an Acura that actually has that track record, had the track record here in GTD. Trent Hindman back in 2019 at 51.4. But an improvement there from Frederick Schandorf from Denmark in that Inception McLaren. But he's 7,000 shy of the time set by the Mercedes of Mike Skeen.
0.007 away. 51.164 for Frederick against a 157 for Mike Skeen. So Mike Skeen holding on to pole position for GTD. They're on the 3rd row at the moment, or he is on the 3rd row. Of course, we'll grid these as they qualify. So at the moment, it'll be 5 GTD Pro cars, and then on the outside of row 3, Mike Skeen will be a full row ahead of the rest of the GTD battling behind him. That might actually do him a bit of a favour. Patrick Pilet with a dusty moment, and he's lifted off in the satin black and plaid Porsche, but he's going to do another lap. Not quite to the edge of turn 7, but a tidy exit this time with a 1.5 to go. He'll have this one and one more if he wants it. Just made a little bit of a mistake in the uphill chicane. Took a little bit too much of the inside curb and actually saved it rather well. But that'll have taken a little more life out of the Michelin tyres, a little more surface temperature on the rears, which he didn't really need. Comes to the same point of the track again, much tidier this time around, and caught the bump better. Wow, that was neat and tidy through there. Now he crests the rise and comes down to the west bend, but his times are not there.
No.
And he's lifted off and pulled to the right-hand side of the road. He's pitting with 38 seconds left. So Pilet will pit, and the only cars that are still out, Alec Udell and Kelly Moss with Riley in the 92 Porsche, Metney in the other Kelly Moss car, the 91, and Sheena Monk in the Gradient Acura. Suspect Sheena is using this as an additional practice session. As I said, they've not had the pace in that NSX this weekend, and I'm not entirely certain that the team know why that is. So maybe they've tried something different here.
Yeah, that lap by Sheena actually is, for what that car has shown this today so far, it's not a bad lap. 50
52.6.
52.6, yeah, she just turned a 52.7 on that last lap. That's actually that car's quickest lap of the day so far. So good effort there by Sheena, gradually gaining speed in that number 66 car. The purple sectors, by the way, I was talking about, I was wrong. They were just in GTD, not overall.
Okay.
The other ones weren't showing up at the time. But Mike Skeen there's purple in Sector 1 for GTD non-pro. DeAndres has non-pro sector, fastest sector time in Sector 2. And Misha Goikberg, who ended up this session third fastest, so excellent run by Misha in the Forte Racing powered by Lamborghini. He was purple in Sector 3 for GTD non-pro. But the top overall, Ross Gunn, fastest in sectors 2 and 3. That's just a stunning lap by Ross Gunn. Really, really impressive. Pulled that one completely out of the hat. He's 7/10 quicker than Roman DeAngelis. Wow.
Jack Hawksworth, by the way, had the best time in Sector 1. The ideal lap, if you add up the perfect lap with the 3 quickest sectors, is a 50.387. And Ross Gunn did a 50.593, so that's pretty stout.
Yeah.
He lost a little bit in the first sector to Hawksworth. Yeah,
2/10.
that's interesting. Very interesting.
Particularly when you consider he's almost 2/10 clear of Jack Hawksworth, is Ross Gunn, but he lost 2/10 to Hawksworth in that first session, first sector. So the second 2 sectors, he made up that time in each of the next 2 sectors. In fact, most of it was in the middle sector, 18.271 for Ross Gunn in that middle sector, which goes from the, where is it?
Just before the uphill.
Until the exit of West Bend. So, wow, that was a heck of a lap, particularly that middle sector for Ross Gunn. That's what really made the difference for him.
So, provisionally, the front row, subject to post-qualifying tech, will be Aston Martin, number 23, Vassar Sullivan Lexus, number 14, so Heart of Racing and Vassar Sullivan, Corvette, and the number 3, with WeatherTech's AMG GT3, number 79 alongside. Row 3, Patrick Pele for Pfaff Porsche in the number 9 car, and Mike Skeen on pole for GTD for the Team Korthoff AMG. Row 4, Frederick Schandorf for the Inception McLaren, number 70, and Misha Goikberg for Forte Lamborghini. What a variety of cars, by the way, in this. Then we've got Roman DeAngelis and Frankie Montecalvo making up row 5. Aston Lexus, Chevy Corvette, Mercedes Porsche, Mercedes, McLaren, Lamborghini, Aston. 9 different cars in the top 5 rows. Stunning stuff. Let's get down to Shea Adam, who's waiting for our pole sitters.
Yeah, we've got both of the drivers down here. The cars appropriately parked side by side, and it's a little bit ironic that Mike Skeen gets his first pole, and yet he'll be starting on the front row overall, which means he's not going to have the best starting spot, right, John? Because he'll be on the dirty side of the track, but I don't think he really minds too much about that, as Ross Gunn looks positively ecstatic. Remember how CTMP ended? This meant the crash at CTMP resulted in a new chassis for the number 23 Heart of Racing, and when I talked to Ross a little bit earlier on, he said, not sure if that's a good thing or thing. Well, so far I'd say it's a good thing. This car is very quick, and Ross looks very excited to try and get back to the top step of the podium here while doing his drive time, because the win in 2021, he had just gotten into the car and then it went to a red flag, which ultimately resulted in him and Roman DeAngelis taking that race win en route to winning the Sprint Championship that year. As we're just waiting for our colleagues at NBC to finish up the interview with Ross, and then we'll be able to dive in with him. Ross, pole position. It is Lime Rock Park, a track that you like, and clearly it likes you. This new chassis, she's fast.
Yeah, she's very fast. I mean, it was a little bit unexpected. We were struggling a bit for pacing in the practice, and then somehow we found a little bit of something with the setup. And I mean, to be honest, this is all down to the hard work of the team. They worked their backsides off for the last for the last 2 weeks to get the car ready for this event after what happened at Mosport, and I owe this completely to them. They did an amazing job, and I'm just so happy for them.
You get a hat, you get a flag, you get a little token, but you still need something else for the 4th crew member working on this car. Think maybe champagne bottle tomorrow will suffice?
Yeah, that'll be amazing. We haven't had a podium this year. We've really struggled to get a run of form and some luck, so to be honest, as much as we'd love to win, it would just be nice to have a clean race without issues, and I'm sure that will be the main aim.
Good luck tomorrow, Ross.
Thank you very much.
And if you'll stick with me, I'll dive over to Mike Skeen. Because, yeah, might as well get a chat with the tall ginger ninja, as he is affectionately known by his other half, Kelly. And for Mike Skeen, no better place than Lime Rock Park to come in, get a first pole. Mike, you've gotten podiums in this series before, but what's it like to know you're starting on the front row?
Yeah, awesome. You know, this place is as important as anywhere to get up front for a start. Super hard to pass here, and that really sets us up well for a good race tomorrow. And yeah, just really happy to reward these guys again after the podium in the last race and put us in a good position to do that again.
Now, you guys have been swapping back and forth with the qualifying duties, so do you feel like you have to step up a little bit extra when they give you the shot?
It's always, you know, there's no margin in IMSA competition to you know, slack a little bit, and so anytime you're in the car, you got to do the best. And yeah, really happy to put these guys on the pole, and hopefully I can race smart at the beginning, keep the car clean, and give it over to Mick, and yeah, we'll see where we go from here.
Congrats on your first career pole.
Thank you, appreciate it.
She made a decent point there, Jeremy, about Mike Skeen. He's on pole, but he's on the wrong side of the track in terms of where he starts. But he, as I said, he is a row ahead of the rest of GTD. I think he'll take that over being on the quote-unquote correct side of the track as everybody scrambles down to turn one. He's got, you know, a car's length on the rest of the GTD field.
Yeah, and car's length is probably about the only lead, as much of a lead as you're going to get. So yeah, he's starting a row ahead. It's got to be you know, that's the good news for him. He won't worry too much about that. He would prefer the inside line, but as you say, he's on. He's still in a really, really good position here. That's a great run by him and a massive improvement over the practice session as well for both pole sitters there, for Mike Skeen and for Ross Gunn. So yeah, that was a really exciting session, and boy, doesn't that bode well for tomorrow.
Did not expect a 2/10 gap between first and second in GTD Pro, with Ross Gunn taking it for Aston Martin ahead of Lexus, then Corvette, Mercedes, Porsche, Mercedes, McLaren. Fred Schandorf, he was given the qualifying duties, and he's repaid that confidence.
He has, but he was quickest this morning. I'm sure he would have been, yeah, odds. My favourite, I thought, for the pole position, most likely to get the pole position. So he fell just a little bit shy. Hats off to Misha Goikberg. That's a really fine effort in that Forte Racing, powered by US Racetronics Lamborghini, to qualify third in this stout field, ahead of Roman DeAndres. Also did a good job, and Frankie Montecalvo, who was on the pole here last year in GTD, fifth fastest in number 12 Vassar Sullivan Lexus.
2 hours and 40 minutes tomorrow for the FCP Euro Northeast Grand Prix for the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship with Liqui Moly, and we'll have it all for you live, including our Michelin Countdown to Green. Make sure you join us for that as well. It's part of our Super Saturday that also sees Michelin Pilot Challenge racing as well. We'll have them for you in sound and vision. Thank you to Shea Adam down in the pit lane. Thank you to Sean and the rest of BSI and our tech team on site at Lime Rock Park, as well as our colleagues up at Charlotte, without whom we can't see the track. So thank you very much indeed. It was Rob Lomas and Tim Gray today, making sure we spoke to the world. They were our producers in London. Jeremy Shaw joined me, John Hindhaugh in the booth, and we'll be back tomorrow. Make sure you don't miss a moment of it as we're live covering all of the action from Lime Rock Park. Bye-bye.